Yes. When you wake up and you feel like you need a little up, when you're down and out and you need to get a little higher. If you feel like you need a blessing and you feel a little high today, welcome to the church of Cali High. Cali High. Cali High.
Welcome to Cali High, episode 55. I'm your host, Chenzo Nico, and this week Cali High joins Brett Feldman of WonderBrett at the WonderBrett facilities in Long Beach for an enlightening interview on the history of WonderBrett and the future of cannabis. We talk about growing up in the San Fernando Valley and his early days attending Humboldt State University and procuring the good herb to bring back to the 818. Brett recalls hanging out with Dre and Snoop and how he was gifted the original OG Kush, which led to such strains as Orange Sunset and Pink Picasso, as well as others. The discussion flows to the preservation of strains, how long to keep a mother, and what to look for in a male. Brett describes the new 5-acre farm in Santa Barbara and reveals a new line of WonderBrett seeds coming soon. We also talk artwork and cultural influences behind this iconic brand. Stay tuned. All right. Cali High is blessed to be at the WonderBrett facilities in the LBC with none other than WonderBrett himself. Brett, how are you?
Great. How are you today, Vince?
Great. Thanks for having us down.
Yeah,
and
thanks for coming.
Yeah. What a great facility do you have here?
I appreciate that. We work really hard here.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a bit of your history of growing and breeding cannabis and the evolution of WonderBrett, the WonderBrett brand.
So I'm from the San Fernando Valley, grew up in Northridge, Granada Hills area, and in the mid-90s there was a lot of good weed strains that were kind of coming through the valley, and a bunch of guys that were really enthusiasts about trying to, collect and find really good genetics. We were seeing purple haze stuff that would come from either Amsterdam or up north, or like Northern Lights, or early train wreck and stuff like that. And then I just fell in love with cannabis the first time I ever smoked it. It worked amazing for me. I was diagnosed with ADD and dyslexia, so they had me on Dexedrine, which is basically like a Ritalin, another version of that. And as soon as I smoked weed, I was like, oh, that's what I need. And, a lot of things become a lot more clear and easier for me when it came to school after that point, which is so nobody wants their kids smoking weed when they're going to high school or something like that. But it really helped me through high school and through college in the first few years that I went to Humboldt for 3 years. And I went there because I just love weed so much and wanted to, be immersed in the people that are growing the weed and having the best genetics and these things. And
what'd you major in?
It was an art major. So it was different than there wasn't oh, everybody's working on a laptop, or it was you had to sit there and draw stuff and make designs and turn in projects that were handmade. So I kind of missed out on a lot of the digital stuff. It wasn't really accessible in the late 90s, to everybody at that point.
It wasn't that developed then.
Yeah, now 20 years later, everybody's walking around with pens and pads that they can draw and create all the artwork they want in the world, animate and make a movie if you want, a cartoon on your iPad basically, which
everybody has.
I could only dream of making a cartoon at a young age on an iPad. That'd be incredible. So
yeah. Well, that's cool. I read some of your bio on the website, and I just had to ask, who gifted you the original OG Kush?
It was a circle from Josh D. It was his buddy Ian, who lived in the Bay at the time. Yeah,
I've heard of him actually.
Yeah, he's a really talented woodworker. He's a really talented guy and a great guy, nice guy. He was growing the OG when I first got introduced to the original OG Kush cut, which is, I say original because at the time there was Kush Bubba was pretty heavy at the time.
Yeah.
Especially in LA, and
Bubba was cool.
Yeah, Bubba was amazing.
Yeah.
I still miss sometimes, like, I see it in some genetics coming back here and there. Like, you see some breeding and you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely got a little bit of Bubba in there or something. But
Yeah.
so Bubba was really more popular in the beginning, and then I got introduced to OG Kush like about maybe a year after I got introduced to Bubba, right? And then or Kush Bubba. And then Pure Kush was just so unique, and the original OG Kush, whether what do you call it? Back then it was just Kush or OG Kush or the Pure Kush PK.
Yeah.
And so I was going to the Bay to get it all the time, and I just kept clearing out the whole
Supply.
the whole supply, and so they just gave me the cut after a while, because like there's just not enough for everybody here, so you need to learn how to grow if you want to keep it. And that was what really kicked me into high gear. It'll be like, I understood what was given to me and how amazing it was. It was like
the significance.
Yeah, it really was like a game-changing strain. Like, I'd seen tons of great weed, and trust me, there was tons of great weed in Humboldt. All those strains like the Northern Lights and Trainwrecks and Cali and the Original Skunk and the
original Blueberry.
Yeah, the original Blueberry is amazing. I still miss it. The closest thing I have to that in our arsenal is the Beyond Blueberry, and then now also the Blueberry Purps is this strain right here in the blue box. So,
how cool!
Those strains are over years and years are like the only thing I've ever come close to seeing that have like the that true blueberry terpene, where you're like, wow, that smells like a candied blueberry from some sort of kids profile of.
Have you ever
fruit.
tasted the Humboldt Seed Company blueberry muffin?
Yeah, I've had that.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
It also has some blueberry going for it, for sure.
That's definitely a very good one as well. Humboldt Seed Co., those are good guys up there. They do good work. A buddy of mine does a lot of work with them.
We just interviewed Nat.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, Cannabis Corey, who's a seed breeder for a long time, and he did a lot of work for DNA Genetics early on too. It works with those guys and a bunch of people, and we were actually doing a seed project with him, which is I guess I can talk about it. I haven't really talked about it, but we do have a seed line coming in this year.
Oh, wow. That was one of my questions.
Yeah. I was like, should I talk about that? I haven't really announced that yet, but I guess it'll be like the perfect
this
place
is a scoop, a Cali High scoop, folks. You heard it here first.
You guys got the scoop.
WonderBrett seeds. So, and what genetics are you putting into those seeds?
The first, that I'll leave as a surprise.
Okay.
That I'll leave as a surprise.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, we got some stuff coming though. Yeah. So.
And I can't help but ask, what's the story behind Dre and Snoop smoking your bud?
It's because of Exhibit, because I met Exhibit and was a fan of his music, and I started giving him OG Kush when I started growing it. In about like late 98, 99 is probably right when I met him, because they were working on the Chronic 2001 album at that point, and he was working on songs that he had coming out, Exhibit had coming out, the song called Year 2000 with Dr. Dre. That was one of the like singles that led up to a lot of like, Exhibit's bigger successes, right?
How cool.
So by meeting Exhibit, he brought me into that circle, and I was able to like go to video shoots where they're filming the next episode, and like all these like historic videos that at the time I knew I was blessed to be at those places.
Yeah.
But when you're there, you're like, this music's amazing, this is great, and like, but you had no idea that the like phenomena that
the
it was
cultural significance.
Yeah, that it was going to turn into.
Oh yeah, did you see the halftime at the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, of course. It was amazing.
God.
Yeah. It was really cool to see it. Like, it's so crazy because now we're the older group, right? Like, so
you're still pretty young.
Yeah, I'm. But my daughter, like I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she's like, she listens to these songs now, and it's like, to her, like, we're listening to oldies.
Yeah.
Like oldies when I was a kid, we were listening to like Otis Redding.
Yeah.
And like stuff, I'd be like, come on, Dad, like I can't listen to any of these like you know, bebop, you know, songs. Like I could deal with the R&B and all this other stuff, but these ones where there was like these early 50s, like, you know, doo-wop songs, I was like, they killing me. So
yeah. Well, I kind of grew up with some of those.
Yeah.
So, can you tell the Cali High listeners the genetics behind some of the favorite WonderBrett flavors?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm fully interested in, because I had like a maybe a life-changing moment with your Orange Sunset. So
yeah, that strain is one of our, you know, it's one of our best. Like that's the hard part, is people always ask me, what's your favorite strain of all the strains you have? And it's really like, you know, it's like, what's your favorite strain that day, really, or what's your favorite strain that week, or what do you know, because
you can't smoke the same strain.
And that's why I don't really, you know, grow OG as much as more as we used to. Like, I grew OG for 15 years straight before anybody would accept another strain, and thank God for dispensaries opening up and creating the medical market and then the rec market, because it finally led to like us to be able to grow a variety of flavors that we wanted to grow, but we just couldn't because no one wanted those flavors at the time. As soon as the dispensaries opened up, all of a sudden they were like, hey, do you have any sativas? You're like, I have some flavors for you. You know, and we were just based off of flavor all the time, and smoking experience, and just good, smooth, you know, tasty weed. Yeah,
well, WonderBrett buds are some of the most unique flavors
I appreciate
I've experienced. Yeah, and I'm not just stroking you.
We try hard.
Yeah,
I mean, we want the product to speak for itself, and we have a lot of, you know, strong cult following, so we see that there are, you know, people that gravitate to it. We know that we're one of the top 5 brands in California right now, and it's so subjective, right? Like everybody's got their own.
So where did the Orange Sunset come from? Is it Tangy in there or something? No.
Yeah, so let's see. It came from the Orange Banana, which came from Banana Split, right? So, which Banana Split came from Crockett. Before Crockett teamed up with DNA, he was really known for Tangy at the time, like before before DNA. They clicked up, and then they went and did a big seed thing together. So I went to Emerald Cup looking for Crockett and his daughter, which they were sharing a booth in this little tiny booth at the time. He wasn't a big name, but if you were in the right circle, you kind of knew who to follow.
Yeah.
And he was one of these people that was like, he's definitely has some good genetics and some unique flavors. So I bought these seeds from him called Banana Split, which was Banana OG crossed with Sherb and Tangy.
Oh, wow.
So when I popped that seeds, we got these very extremely floral banana, like obnoxious banana smell, where you're like, it's almost when you smelt it, you're like, that kind of makes me feel sick.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of strawberry banana, because that's the only strain now that I taste banana in. Yeah.
So I like banana strains, but this strain it had this floral banana to it, where it almost reminds you of like that when you were in the dentist chair as a kid, and they'd put that flavor in your mouth for the fluoride or whatever. It was like that, right? Where you were like, this is funky. It didn't taste like banana at all, though, when you smoked it. It smelled like banana, but it tasted like Tangy.
Yeah.
It was the oddest thing. It was it's probably one of the only times I've ever smoked a strain still to date where the terpene profile that you smell did not match the flavor in any way.
That's kind of odd. Yeah,
I like, have to say, this extremely orange Tangy, but this banana smell. So we crossed the Pineapple OG, which is a strain that we made prior to the Banana Split. When we crossed that Banana Split,
smoked that, as a matter of fact, it's very tasty.
So the Pineapple OG is right here.
Yeah,
and that's like the first strain that I created when I was breeding. When I got OG early on, and a buddy of mine from Humboldt gave me the sour grape seeds, and like I was hoping to try and make a grape OG, but it just didn't come out grape at all. It just came out like this super gassy pineapple. And so we took that banana split. When we were doing that, I had the male from the banana split, and I crossed that into the pineapple OG, making orange banana, right? Because that was version 1 of orange banana, right? And that was out, I'd say, like in 2014 or 2015, when we were just right in the middle of like the transition from medical to rec.
Right.
Well, rec wasn't even around actually till 2018. The conversation was happening, really. But so that was happening, and then Skittles came around, right? And everybody was excited about Skittles, and then Dying Breed put out the Skittles OG Cross, which is the OZK, right? And that was at this, they dropped the seeds at this High Times event. It was a double weekend. It was crazy. Like, so went to go buy those seeds from them when they were setting up, but they were super busy. They was like, "Oh, hit me back later. I'll come, I got it set aside for you, this and that." Meanwhile, I was like, okay, we'll catch up with them. I never caught up with them that weekend, or that day. Actually, it was the first day of the event. I was trying to get them that day, but our booth was slammed. Like, it was like a really good, weekend for us on that one, right? So we were slammed, and I never got back over to the booth because they were still setting up and they were busy too. That night, though, their trailer with all their stuff got broken into at the hotel, and all of their seed stock and everything got stolen before I got to get the seeds. Lucky enough, a friend of mine about a month later, he had actually got a pack or two of the seeds the night before everything got stolen when they were at the hotel hanging out. I guess these guys, they had some of them in their backpacks or whatever, and my buddy was able to get 2 packs of them. And I was just talking about how I was so bummed that I couldn't get those seeds. And he was like, "Wait a second, I think I have those seeds at my house. Like, the OZK, like," he's like, "Those are in my kitchen drawer right now." And I'm like, "Let's go there. Let's go to your house and get it." We went and got them. He gave me the seeds. And so Destiny eventually gave me those seeds. We got those seeds, we popped them, we came out with some really good OZK, 2 great phenos. We've only released one of the phenos to date.
You did have an OZK, didn't you?
Yeah, we still have it. Yeah. We did that collaboration with Be Real. We gave him the OZK because back when OG was coming up, like, I gave him that cut early on too, and he rapped about it in his Dr. Green Thumb song, and he really blew up Kush on the map. Like, that's what really blew Kush up all the way, was Be Real. He deserves all of the credit in the sense of creating Kush into this like pop icon
legend
strain, and then everybody wanted to smoke it, and so it was big for years after that, right?
Well, Cypress Hill is some of my greatest
definitely like my idols when it comes to music, them and Rage Against the Machine, which he ended up becoming the front man for Rage Against the Machine for a while, which was super fun and cool to see that happen. But I gave him that strain because he blew up OG, so when we did the collab, it was only made sense to give him OZ and do the collab because OG Kush and Skittles were such iconic strains. It's like, if anybody's going to be able to promote this strain properly and give the world a good look at it, it's going to be him. So people love our OZK, and but that OZK also harvested a really good male out of it. I know this is a big circle to turn around on.
It's all right.
But that's how we get back to Orange Sunset, right? So the male from the OZK into the original orange banana, right, gives you Orange Sunset today.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. So
that is cool.
That's how much work goes into our genetics. Just, a lot of this stuff. Some of them, like this one's even more complex. Like the blueberry perps is an even longer breeding process to get to that one. So
are your concentrates made from Are your concentrates exclusively made from your strains?
Yes, only all our concentrates are made from our genetics. We don't outsource anything.
Yeah. That's cool. They taste like it.
Yeah, everything up till right now, actually, it's your timing is impeccable on the question, because up until today, or like the last week or two, right, everything you've tasted concentrate-wise has come from our Long Beach facility grown here, right?
Yeah.
We did a deal with a Santa Barbara farm.
That's another one of my questions.
So we did this big outdoor farm last year, and we froze everything from the harvest in October of last year. It's all in the freezer. Been processing it to put out the vape line.
How many acres?
It was 5 acres.
5 acres, not too
Yep.
bad.
Yeah, we went.
How many plants does 5 acres hold?
15,000 plants.
Wow.
So we
all from clones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From starts.
So you can now take your concentrates from the outdoor.
And that's what we're using for our vape line.
Right.
So the whole vape line right now is our genetics, but grown at our partner farm.
That was a whole question in there.
Yeah. So we're covering all types of bases.
Yep. Well, that's interesting. I figured, because I noticed you don't have an outdoor flower from the Santa Barbara farm.
No,
right?
and that's the thing is like there's always people on Instagram that are like, always crazy comments, whatever. But the outdoor is for concentrates and for a good reason, so that we could give you guys a very affordable vape and not be charging, $50, $60 for a half a gram for high quality vapes, because that's what it would cost if you were using the indoor flower.
Right.
And it just becomes too expensive,
especially in this day of overtaxation.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. So how many strains do you have? I counted 13, but I think I saw more multicolored boxes than 13.
Yeah, there are more than 13. There's closer to like 20. Some come in and out over the time periods, like certain strains like Orange Dynamite Stick that we did with Sublime. That was like one of our very first like celebrity collaborations we did with them, and that we haven't grown that in, I'd say, at least 4 years. So,
oh wow!
We could bring it back at some point. But all the time we're constantly breeding and creating new strains.
And how do you keep a strain around for? Like some of your strains have been around for many years. So how do you keep that strain's genetics from getting weak and changing?
It comes through good plant health, like maintaining good plant health all the time. The clone that you cut from that mom, it's only going to be as good as the health of that mom, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're not good at maintaining the health of your plants and creating a very vigorous plant, and when you go to cut clones, you're going to keep diminishing in health over time. So that's how we've maintained our strength of our genetics. This is the original pineapple OG cut, from, I'd say, 2006. And it's so vigorous. It's one of our best.
So you've had a mother ever since then? Healthy mothers?
No, we don't hold on to
tissue culture, or
no. I don't really subscribe to holding on to moms like that. Yeah. That used to be, I think, some old world stuff where you're like,
just keep going.
Yeah, like
new moms.
Yeah, you just keep creating the next version of a really healthy mom. And basically, we believe that for all your growers out there, like a mom that's older than 90 days is not worth keeping.
Okay, you heard it here, folks.
I had OG moms that I had literally for like 8-9 years before I gave them up, but only because of the realization that like I was getting much better clone stock off of
the new cuttings,
and just constantly like always pheno hunting within your genetic, right? The best, healthiest mom there, and take that to your veg space and clone from there, and keep always looking for the clones that root first and have the healthiest, vigorous takeoff, and keep building the health up instead of going, I'm going to keep that one and put it into bloom because that's going to give me a 4-ounce plant.
Yeah,
like try to get all your plants to be 4-ounce plants because of that mom.
Exactly.
So it's just a lot of learning curves that a lot of people they have to learn for themselves.
How many years have you been growing? Just out of curiosity.
I'd say the first time I threw seeds in the backyard, I was like in 10th grade. But first time I really started growing was when OG Kush was given to me. It was
97, is that what
98,
98,
like somewhere around there, because I graduated in 96 for high school. I was going up and down for college, and then
24 years.
So it's been a long time, and more than half my life I've been indoor growing, and now we've been doing some of the outdoor stuff too. We don't have as big of a hand in that on a daily basis. We are there weekly and checking in on everything, but we really rely on people that are are good at their craft. If someone's been growing in the outdoor for 10, 15 years, and I've been growing in indoor for 20 years, I'm gonna respect. You know, and a lot of the stuff crosses over. It's pretty simple. Outdoor growing is really about your climate and just like doing certain preparations and then kind of letting it all go and finish. You know, it's the beauty of outdoor. So
I'm on my 5th year in my backyard. I've learned so much in 5 years because I've interviewed people like you and other growers that have given me great information.
It's simpler than it is, right? I mean, people make it so complex, and you're just like, dude, it's less is more with this.
It's a labor of love too. Any CBD high strains?
Not yet. We do plan on putting out some CBD breeding projects soon. Like, one of the goals is to breed our genetics into CBD over and over again, and to create basically a WonderBrett menu of our flavors, but in a CBD flower,
CBD content,
so that you can have it be eventually, you know, everywhere instead of just where we're limited to cannabis licenses. You know,
if you were stranded on a desert island, what 3 of your strains would you want to have today? Because I know it changes, right? So
I would definitely say, you know, Pink Picasso's gonna be in there. Just
it's one of my favorites.
It's such a unique strain. It's just beautiful flavor, and there's nothing else that tastes like that. I would say, wow, that second one, I have to probably say Orange Sunset or Orange Banana. You know, like, because Orange Banana is the new version is a version 2, which is the OZK cookies and cream crossed into the original Orange Banana. So it's a little bit different than the Orange Sunset, but Orange Sunset just tastes like, it's hard to have 2 oranges on the menu. Let me tell you right now. Like, people are like, why do you have 2 orange strains on the menu? Because both those strains are so unique.
One is, they're different from each other.
One is like straight orange crushed soda, and one is, you know, this Orange Banana. And they're different highs within that same terpene profile. So
and then, you know, I wanted to ask what's behind Pink Picasso, because
that's again, you know, that the beautiful male that came from OZK that we got that made
the same one that made the Orange headset.
And even a lot of the genetics, like when we find a good male, we cross that male into everything we have in our stable of all of our already.
And how do you find a good male? Do you rub the stem?
Definitely. Like, you look for vigor, you look for structure, and then also, like, if you can smell a strong terpene profile in veg on the male before it even goes in bloom.
Exactly.
And some people just don't have the nose to, like, detect those things. Fortunately,
I pity them.
I mean, some people just don't. You know, they smell stuff and they just smell green. You know, or plant.
My good friend used to go up Humboldt and get some weed from this lady up there in the mountains, and she always said to pick your males by the smell, the fragrance.
Totally.
Why Long Beach, bro?
Long Beach is a great city. They were really accommodating. They were first movers, and being first into the marketplace is key when, especially a place as competitive as California is. Like, we were never a heavily funded company that had, you know, some big Canadian backers or you know, billionaires that supported us. Right? We raised very little money to start this company, and we've always been very scrappy. All our partnerships are good partnerships, and that's how we've gotten to where we are. Is like without having to do all that, right? So Long Beach, you know, again, they did the licensing processes were good here. The taxes are good here. The city is good to work with, and the people are great in Long Beach. And you know, would I have loved to have it right in, you know,
not as much
Chatsworth or something
as LA, that's for sure.
But you know, I still live up in the San Fernando Valley, and I drive down here an hour and a half every day. I would have loved to have been, you know, right, you know, somewhere off of Reseda or something, you know, like, but you know, this is at the time, you know, you had 2 choices. It was either go to the desert or find a city like this, and this is an amazing place to work. So Long
Yeah.
Beach is great.
Well, that's cool. This is a big organization. You must have many teams in various areas of responsibility. What is your management structure like?
We are, I swear, that question, you know, I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions about this brand is that we are this big team. And like, honestly, if you look around these office right here, it's a big office, but really there's only like our CPA, our CEO, Matt Costa, 2 graphic designers, one lead marketing guy, another head of R&D with me.
Yeah.
And there's about 6-7 guys that really run this brand. My partner Cameron, he is in Michigan right now running the operations and the grow out there. And
so you're going multi-state as well?
Yeah, we're in 2 states now, and we're gonna be hopefully. I can't announce it yet, but 2 more states hopefully by the end of this year. So
indoor and outdoor growing facilities.
Mostly indoor facilities to start, and then
Retail.
Hopefully some retail as well in those states as well. That is part of our plan, is to roll out into states with indoor, outdoor, to support the vape line, because the vape line is, people really love the vape. We just launched that, and it's done way better than we expected out the gate.
Is it a live resin kind of thing?
Yeah, it's all live resin, 100%. Just this is how we do it. So we freeze everything from the field. We crash it into a sauce where we get diamonds and terps. We separate the diamonds and terps. We melt the diamonds, reintroduce the terps, so it's 100% the plant. We don't put any additives in there. There's no natural terpenes, which are not natural. Like,
right.
They're not cannabis.
Who wants non-cannabis
You're
terpenes?
not supposed to smoke oranges and lemon cleaner and all of these things. Like, you're supposed to smoke. You want to smoke cannabis. So I'm not a big fan of what I consider fake terps, but they call natural terps. There's a lot of like joints out there that have fake terps in them, and distillate
I know.
cars.
I'm just not a big fan. I swear. I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
just adulterate the weed.
It's
completely.
not. I guarantee it's not coming from somebody who really loves to smoke, that designed that product, right?
Yeah.
They designed it to make money, and then they got a lot of people introduced to it, and then that's just what they're used to, and they're not really having an A to B comparison. Now they do with my product out there.
Yeah.
Or the WonderBrett brand product out there with these vapes. Now you actually can taste what our flowers taste like, as if they were a dab, right? So a lot of this is where I think the light bulb goes off for a lot of people when they smoke our vape, right?
Right.
And the live resin, it triggers in their mind. But so many people who've taken dabs have already experienced this huge flavor jump. Right? When you went from smoking shatter or something like that to smoking live resin dabs, we experienced this jump in flavor that was probably the biggest jump in cannabis flavor that I could think of ever in like a quality like that.
So Cali High is back with WonderBrett.
Oh.
Brett Feldman. You don't mind me
that's fine.
giving away your last name?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm out in the open here. I got licenses in my name, a social equity applicant.
There you go, bro.
There's no going back.
So we already talked about Santa Barbara, and what kind of, if you don't mind me asking, indoor growing facilities, lighting, are you LED now, or?
We do a mix. We've been doing a mix of LED and HPS for probably like 8 years. Right when LEDs like just started to have any show of life. A friend of ours had bought a bunch of them, and he didn't like them. He was going to throw them away, and I was like, just give them to me. And he gave them to me, and I put them up in between our we made checkerboard lighting out of it, and we saw a really good benefit. So it was like, from that point on, LED was viable to me, and over the years it's just gotten better and better and better.
So, the Gavita lights.
All of them, whoever you pick.
So We talked about keeping your strains stable over the years, and my question was going to be, have you ever grown from seed? We know you have, and then now we know that there's going to be seeds coming.
Yeah, the seed line. I'm excited about that. I think a lot of people, I think they're going to be really happy with what we put out. We're not holding back. We're not putting out everything at once.
Are they going to be feminized?
No, they'll be regular seeds. Yeah,
so you can get males.
Yeah, so people can be breeders too. It's like we've had our fun with these strains and putting them out over the years, and we have so much stuff that we haven't even been able to put out.
Yeah,
that it's like I just feel guilty holding on to certain things this long and not giving them out to the world.
That's a noble endeavor.
Well, there needs to be the next, generation of people that run with these and take them into different places that, like, I can't do everything.
Yeah,
our team can't do everything.
Apple leaving their source code public.
Or like Tesla or something doing, where they gave out a lot of their battery technology to Toyota or to GM or whoever they did.
So, where you have a retail outlet here in LA, don't you?
Yeah, so we opened up our store last year in July, first WonderBrett store, and we'll open up another WonderBrett store this year, another one in LA, and we'll just keep going one by one, and some certain areas we don't want to have too big of a retail footprint. It becomes a whole nother side of the business, right?
Yeah,
the retail. So we just want to have, I think, maybe 4 or 5 stores in certain areas so that we can service our clientele with our experience that we like. It's
do you exclusively carry your own products, or
no, we carry a bunch of other brands in there, and we just carry what we think, like what we would smoke if we weren't around. And it's tough being in our store. It's a lot of people come to our store to get WonderBrett product, but also there's a lot of other people that know that we do curate a good menu, and we bring in other good brands that people like are really desirable, like guys like Redline Genetics or Doja or the Association or Balanced or
I like Balanced.
The stuff with we just did a really cool collab with Lift Tickets for this Brilliance with our flower, where they put a THC diamond on it, so it's like a and it's our concentrate too, with it too, so it's strain specific, but it's like the first time I've seen anybody do a really, really good, like a high-end version of like what I would consider like a infused flower or moon rock, or something like that, where it's not like rolled in distillate and dirty old keef, and you're like, oh those. Man, like what is that? Like it's just as soon as somebody hit it, you're like, I have an instant headache. You're like, please never give me that again. But when you do it really nice with our products, it's a great product. I was blown away on how good it was. So shout out to Emmett there at Lift Ticket.
Okay. Did I see you speaking at a rally the other day, and it was against the tax?
Yeah,
burden the cannabis industry is facing right now.
Yeah, the taxes are crazy. A good friend from his name is Elliot from Catalyst. He's the owner of those dispensaries, and he has a lot of. He has a lot of just experience and knowledge and understanding of like how all of this stuff's happening with the taxes, and he's in it. Whereas, like the past year or two, or even further back, I just been so focused with head down on the brand always, because it is a lot of work to maintain and keep this operation running. From whether it's the cultivation side or whether it's the brand side or internal stuff. It's like. I'm a weed guy. I didn't grow up in some business structure world where I knew how to do all this stuff. So we're a scrappy group, and we get it done though. Yeah. And I think we have a great team of people. But the taxes, with Elliot, he's out there pushing really hard with the city to try and get stuff changed. And so he invited me to come out and speak at the city hall there. Yeah. Because we're big taxpayers here in Long Beach as well. We We love the city, and we feel privileged to be here. But there's not all of it's on the city. A lot of it's state taxes when it comes to excise tax, and when it comes to cultivation tax, right?
Yeah.
So the cultivation tax, is $150 a pound, which doesn't seem like crazy at first, but when you look
when
at
the price of cannabis comes down, that doesn't change.
Yeah, well, it's not even just that. Like that part, it's the 5 other things that they tax you for. That when you add it all up, that you go, wait a second. Like individually, this isn't so terrible, but when you add all of how many times cannabis gets taxed, it ends up being 37% at the consumer level at the store, and it all gets passed down to the consumer, and that's why a $50 eighth costs $70 when you walk out the door.
Yeah,
and that's killing brands. It's beyond that. This is the nuances that people don't understand, right? So there's no tax write-offs for cannabis brands, right?
Right. No federal tax write-offs. Period.
Exactly. So after you get super taxed, through the system of the state here, then you have regular income tax, right?
Right.
And then right after that, they hit you with 280E, which is an 80% tax from the government because it's not federally legal. So there's just literally nothing left.
Really?
Yeah, 280. You know what? You ever heard of 280E?
No, I've never heard of 280E.
Okay, 280E is like the biggest thing in cannabis that needs to change, and that's why like federal legalization, when that happens, 280E will go away, right, and you'll actually be able to turn a profit and maybe have a tax write-off and this and that. So with all that being said, right, the key part of this that people don't understand is that a lot of the cannabis gets brought to the store on terms. It's not a COD market, right? So as soon as that cannabis hits the market, right, and goes into a store, into the metric system, we have to pay that tax regardless of whether we ever get paid on that pound or not.
Yeah.
So there are times where stores don't pay us for pounds and products and stuff like that, and then we still have to pay this $150 tax on that pound that we never even were able. We put in hundreds of dollars to create that pound, and if not thousands, like to create that pound, really, with packaging and distro and all these things, and you just take this huge loss. So when you look at the metric of it, you go, okay, so every 1 pound that we get stiffed on erases 25 pounds of profit from another one, right? Or something like this, right?
Yeah.
And it is crazy. No other business is taxed this way. Not even the ones that you would think, not tobacco, not alcohol, like no one is taxed this way.
Right. And no other agricultural product has a cultivation tax.
Yeah, so most ag products get subsidies because they're farms. We get no help.
Right.
We get actually penalized every step of the way. And if there was a way for us to make any money, they found another roadblock to throw up in front of it to put another tax on top of it. That's why there's 5 taxes on the situation before you actually get to the store.
Yeah,
right?
It's really sick.
Yeah, we are, fortunate enough to be able to survive right now. And that is like, I think if you interview anybody in cannabis right now, they'll tell you the same thing. That is like, that's what winning is in cannabis right now, is actually surviving.
Yeah.
Right. So they have to change that tax code. California has I don't know, it's billions of dollars of surplus right now of money. And for whatever reason, they've decided to create this system that is completely counterproductive to what everybody wanted in California. We voted for it to become legal so people wouldn't be going to jail for weed or weed-related situations or petty weed-related crimes, right? Mm-hmm. And to create a safe access for medical and recreational as well, so you wouldn't have black market products and people getting sick. Right, but when you overtax it this way, you give the black market a 40 to 50% price advantage, where they're thriving and we're dying. Right.
Oh yeah.
So it's completely counterproductive to it. So what's going to happen is a lot of people that had plans to be in this recreational market have gone out of business. And what are those people going to do? They're going to go back to the black market and to go sell weed again. And there's going to be a whole nother resurgence of the war on drugs on some level, which is just completely, again, the opposite of what we were trying to create.
Yeah, it almost seems like they tried to make it to fail. It's just
well, they made it so that everybody who was a dreamer with small mom and pop money, who wasn't some big federal company with billions of dollars, would get into it, right, as well, and drain themselves in the system. And we would build the infrastructure, we would build the customer base, we would build the whole system for them.
And the big MSOs would come in and take
clean
over.
us out for pennies on the dollar, which is, I guarantee, I would bet my life that after federal legalization comes in, that miraculously taxes will come down dramatically on cannabis because of their lobbying power that they have right now. I'm sure they're lobbying to kill us along the way, so that none of us can get to be really a big enough brand that could be a nationwide, that's the thing they don't understand, is they're trying to kill us with all this, but cannabis guys are just relentless. They don't understand how, like, we're just not going to quit, like, no matter what they try to throw at us.
Yeah.
Right? So even if we're dying along the way, we're like, we're going to beat you one way or another, no matter how many roadblocks you put in front of us.
Yeah. Well, I like that determination, bro. So, last question. What advice would you give to somebody that was trying to get into the cannabis business now?
Be really good at raising money, because it's not getting cheaper.
No.
It's every day. This is as cheap as it's ever going to get right now at this moment, right? 2 years ago it was cheaper. 10 years from now it'll be 10 times more. It's just it's a race to establish.
Until maybe, like you say, federal legalization makes
When federal legalization comes, it's going to be a floodgate of billions of dollars. And if you think it's not fair right now, wait till they break out the Amazon model, where they're like, we don't care, we could lose money for the next 5 years just to put all of you out of business, and then when all you are out of business, then we'll start ratcheting the price up slowly. And that's how guys with billions of dollars get to have hundreds of billions of dollars, because they're not really thinking about how it affects everybody. They're just thinking about, like, they found a cheat code that works at a big time level, and they can keep exploiting it because they have the big bankroll.
Well,
so if you want to get into cannabis, raise money, or find a niche, like a really small niche that you can protect, and that it's not worth it for the big guys to try and come take it from you. I have actually one more question. Go ahead. Artistic
influences. I know that I would say the packaging of WonderBrett is probably tops in the line, tops in cannabis, right?
I appreciate that.
In my opinion. So.
Definitely very influenced by music and art and TV and film, like anything that just evokes strong emotion and visually, pleasing is something that I've always been gravitated to. So it's, Picasso and Van Gogh and, the new stuff like, Keith Haring and, Jeff Koons and, just there's so many. If you haven't been down to this, shout out to the Broad Museum in LA. Go to the Broad Museum in LA, right near the Disney Music Hall there, and go check it out. You'll go see where every brand has gotten their influences from, and style and creativity over the past like 30 years has came from these people like Andy Warhol and all these people that are at the Broad. And they have one of the best collections I've ever seen. If you're an art lover, I'd say get down there and check it out. It's free. You just got to sign up online and like register, and it's an amazing experience. So
alrighty. Well, Brett, thank you for having us down.
Thanks for coming.
It's been a pleasure.
All
right, Cali High out.
Have a great day.
You've been listening to Cali High episode 55. Our special guest this week was Brett Feldman of WonderBrett. I'm your host, Chenzo Nico. WonderBrett can be found on Instagram at WonderBrett_ and at WonderBrett Store. On the web, WonderBrett.com. Cali High photographer, Henny Nicoletti. Cali High's theme, written and recorded by Vince Nicoletti, Jordan Webb, and Namir Blade. Cali High podcast theme and logo are copywritten and trademarked. Please donate to Cali High at patreon.com/CaliHighLA. Please like, follow, and subscribe to Cali High on YouTube, and you can find us on YouTube at Cali High episode and the number. Email us with any questions to calihighpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at Cali High LA, and you can find our links right there on all podcast platforms and audio. Cali High is a Chenzo Nico production. Stay safe and be blessed.